So we're going to talk about gratitude, and not just about gratitude in the sense of, what we can be thankful for and how that improves our life, but really going deep into what we can do as far as practicing gratitude in our lives. So tangible things we can do. And also why and how gratitude basically help you to have the life that you would really want, which is probably, if you're in this group, a life centered on God and his love and his provision and protection and who he says you are, and really just loving yourself and your life at a whole new level. And when we're in gratitude, it's amazing how this actually shows up in our life, that happiness, that joy, that peace, all of those things that we really want. So today, again, I'm talking about how gratitude can significantly improve your life. And not just on how to be grateful, but what God is actually doing in the midst of not having what you want. So if you're feeling at the moment that you're kind of grateful, but you'd be more grateful if you had, this, and this, then we're going to talk about what God is actually doing sometimes in that period where you don't have what you want. And we're going to talk about how you can shift your thoughts to be grateful in any moment, no matter what your circumstances are. So I'd love for you to put in the comments what you are grateful for now. And then let's go on and just talk a little bit about gratitude and how that can show up in your life in a way that you might not have thought of before. So my name's Alana Palm. So some of you have just joined the group. Some of you are in the group right now because you signed up for the 5-day self-love challenge, and I'll be talking about that a little later as well. So welcome. If this is the first time that you're actually meeting me or virtually meeting me, my name is Alana Palm, and I am the host of the Confident, Courageous Christian Women group. I'm also the creator of the Set Free Academy, which is a transformational Bible-based program for Christian women who really want to see themselves through God's eyes, who are tired of the pain and hurt that they've been holding on to. They want to heal that, and they want to actually love themselves and see their true worth through God's eyes, through who God says they are. So a lot of times Christian women, they seem to have it all together. I don't know if you've experienced this or even if this is what you show the world, but a lot of Christian women, it looks like they've got it all figured out. They are, showing up at church, volunteering, they're doing their job, they're running in their family, they're doing just about everything you can think of. But what I've known is that from the outside looking in, it can be very different than when you are actually experiencing it. And they might still, and often don't, truly love themselves. They're often working on it, but they don't know exactly how to do it yet. And it makes them frustrated when they try so hard to be happy with who they are, but they're still not feeling good about themselves and getting really their needs met in relationship. They just keep trying to get their needs met, trying to feel loved, trying to feel worthy, and they're just not getting what they want. And if that sounds familiar to you, you're not alone. I promise you that. I know so many women who are experiencing the same things, even from the answers that I've gotten when people have come into this group. So many of you are struggling with self-love. And being in gratitude is a huge alignment with self-love. When you're grateful, it just brings those two things together in a way that's so powerful. And I'm sure it's probably hard not to feel down sometimes when you're trying to be grateful, you're trying to be happy and love yourself, but it's just not working. So gratitude is something that will really help you shift your perspective into a place of self-love, self-worth, and really trusting God that he is who he says he is and that he wants the very best for you. So maybe maybe you're in an experience right now where you have a lot to be thankful for. On a head level that, you think you wake up in the morning, you're like, okay, I wake up in the morning, I can breathe, I can walk, I can see, I can experience so much. And maybe you think I have people that love me, I have food in the fridge, I'm provided for, I have a roof over my head, but you still get down. You still want more, and you still see the lack in your life. And maybe you wonder why you haven't gotten the desires of your heart as God promises. And if that's the case, I get it because I have been there. I knew I had so much to be thankful for at a head level, but I wasn't feeling it at a heart level. And it didn't matter that I had so much, that I had, a great life. I had, I was financially okay. I was married to a wonderful man. I had a beautiful daughter. I had, everything that I could want, really. I had a great relationship with God, great friends, everything, but I was not thankful. I did not see what I had for what it really was. I was only seeing where there was lack, where I wasn't getting what I wanted. And so if you're experiencing that, I just want you to know that you're not alone. You might be clouded by thoughts of lack or not being enough or feeling unworthy and unlovable. And if that's the case, I get it because I was in that place. I wanted more. I expected more. I cried out to God to give me what I thought I wanted. Like, God, why won't you give me that man that I like when I was single? Really liked this guy and he wasn't interested in me and I didn't know why, right? Now I can look back and go, okay, I totally know why. But at the time I was like, God, please bring this man into my life, make him fall in love with me. And there were certain situations I wanted repaired. I wanted them to look a certain way, whereas God had a different plan, but I wasn't okay with that. I wanted it to be the way that I wanted it to be. So I wasn't in gratitude. And when he didn't deliver what I wanted, I was resentful and I wondered why. Like I went into a place of, well, God must not really love me. Why isn't he giving me what I want? And I was just like totally focused on lack. And maybe you've been in this position. Maybe you've tried to be grateful even in the midst of pain. Maybe you've wondered why God wasn't giving you the desires of your heart. And maybe you thought you knew what you really needed, but it was actually not what you needed. It was what you wanted. And that's very different from what you need. God doesn't give you what you want all the time. He gives you what you need. So again, today we're going to look at like what God is really doing when he doesn't give you what you want and how you can be grateful in any moment to significantly improve your experience of life, which is really what your life is. It's your experience of it. So by the end of this video, you're going to understand a few things. You're going to understand the benefits of gratitude, how to practice it even when you don't feel like it, and what God is really doing in all of that, in all of the experience you're having of not having the things that you think you want in your life. So let's start by looking at some of the benefits of gratitude. So we're going to talk about a few different areas. And the first one is it increases your happiness. So counting your blessings actually leads to heightened well-being, especially a more positive mood. It actually protects you from stress and negativity, and it's associated with decreased anxiety, decreased depression, and increased social support and interactions with other people. It takes away our focus on material things because materialism is linked to less happiness, and we're going into the Christmas season where we often think we need all this stuff, but it's actually linked to less happiness. And there are a lot of studies on that. And not only does it increase your happiness, it helps that feeling last. So you know how you can, eat a tub of ice cream and feel really good in the moment, but then after you do it, you're like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Especially if you were trying to, eat healthy or whatever it was, and you were feeling down and you made a choice and you think, oh my gosh. And that is not increased happiness for a sustainable period of time. It's for a moment. So when you are in gratitude, it helps that happiness sustain. It also leads to better relationships. So gratitude strengthens your relationships and helps you create and maintain good relationships and feel more connected to people. It also helps you to relate to people better because you're more positive and more satisfied with your life. And this is actually really attractive to other people. Think about when you're around somebody who is really grateful. Don't you feel good? Don't you feel like your energy is lifted just because this person is in your life and you're around them? So that's the second one. So it increases your happiness. It increases your, it gives you better relationships. And it also improves your health. So it improves your sleep quality. It improves the duration that you sleep. And because what happens is you actually have more grateful and happy thoughts before you go to sleep. Instead of counting sheep, for example, you can actually count your blessings. I know, it's true though. And being thankful can help you be more motivated to achieve your goals and your purpose. So it helps you make better choices that will lead you towards your goals and your purpose. And it comes from a place of positivity and abundance and feeling like God will bring those things into your life, right? Instead of negativity and fear and wondering, does God really, is he really there for me? Is he really giving me the things that I desire? Well, he is. It just might not look the way that you think. It also helps you to have a deeper impact. So when we talk about purpose, we can talk about impact. And if you want to make a difference in the lives of other people, you can do that simply by being grateful. Remember, we talked about when you're around somebody who's grateful, how it makes you feel. Well, you can have that effect on other people too. The thing is, and I'm guilty of this, we're often so focused on doing that we forget that we are enough by just being. And being grateful can help you be more altruistic, moral, helpful, and kind to other people. It also helps increase the happiness of others because those you give thanks to are more likely to become filled up as well. When you express your gratitude to someone, the person will go on to actually be kinder to other people because people love being appreciated, right? So you're actually giving them a gift that they take and they go home to their family, or they go, into their circle of friends, in another circle, and they share that joy that they feel with those people and they make their lives better. So it's like a ripple effect, right? Often we don't know the ripple effect that we have on people just by being who we are. And if you struggle to feel grateful because maybe there's a lot going on in your life right now, 2020 has been a really tough year and it might be bringing you down. And I get it, because there are times in our lives that are really stressful. And the thing is, even in those moments, you can choose to be grateful for the little things. So we're going to look at some strategies to be grateful, even when you don't feel like it. The first one is by making daily gratitude lists. So scientists have actually found that you can increase your well-being by making these daily gratitude lists. You can take a little book, you can buy yourself a little book, and in it, every day you can write down, 3 or 5 things that you're grateful for. And this simple and short act can significantly increase your happiness because you're looking back at your day and remembering the things that you are grateful for. You're remembering the good things in your day. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you can actually reflect on gratitude through a guided meditation, like a Christ-centered guided meditation, or a visualization exercise. So sometimes if you just sit back and you play a recording, it will actually just wash over you. So it's not the type where you sit there and you're just like meditating into nothingness. It's where you're actually focusing on God, his love, being grateful to him, but it helps to sometimes have someone else guiding you through that. So the third thing is that God knows what you need. So he's not always going to give you what you want. So this is what I was talking about earlier. We think, and I do this too, we think that we know what we need. We think we want that person in our life or that thing in our life, but what God knows is what we actually need, the desire of our heart. And, you might want, say, that man in your life. God knows that what you truly want is to heal your heart and not have to have that man in your life so that you feel good. And so what he's doing, he actually might take that man out of your life because he wants you to experience something that's going to bring you closer to him. So he might bring someone away from you so that you actually go through the pain of heartache around that relationship, which brings you closer to him, which brings you in deeper relationship with him, because then you're learning to rely on him and not that other person. Number 4, remember you always have a choice in every circumstance. So you can make a gratitude list. You can reflect on gratitude through guided meditation. You can know at a head level that God is maybe not giving you what you want because he's more focused on what you need and maybe on your healing and breakthrough. And in every moment, you have a choice. I don't know if you've ever heard of a man named Viktor Frankl. I love quoting him because it's just such a powerful story. He was involved in a concentration camp, and he survived it, and he authored a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And I would highly encourage you to pick that up if you have not read it. It is an amazing book. One of the things he says is, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we're challenged to change ourselves. Everything can be taken from a person but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. And then he goes on to say, between stimulus and response, so like kind of cause and effect, or what your circumstance is and how you respond to it, there's a space. So stimulus is here, response is here, and then there's this space in between. In that space is our power to choose. God gave us the power to hold every thought captive to Christ, to choose our thoughts, to have free will. He wants us to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And we can get all of that by knowing our power to choose our response, which is something God has given us. Because in our response lies growth and freedom. So this is a powerful quote. And the truth is, sometimes circumstances are not going to be what you want. Like Viktor Frankl, he was obviously not happy about being in a concentration camp, but even in the midst of that awful circumstance, he chose his attitude. And so you know, it's 100% okay to be both sad and in gratitude at the same time. You can mourn the fact that you don't have what you want, but you can also be grateful for the things that you do have, right? So they can take place at the same time. I mean, even Jesus said, blessed are the poor in spirit. So he was giving us permission to feel down, but scripture also reminds us that we don't mourn the same way as those who don't have hope. And the joy of the Lord is really our strength, right? The only way I know how to resiliently find hope in the midst of a challenging situation, especially in a year like 2020, which is, I know it's taught me a lot. I don't know what it's taught you. What has 2020 taught you? What has this pandemic taught you? For me, it's been all about surrender. But the only way I know how to find hope in the midst of a challenging situation is to be grateful. And the gratitude leads to joy, which leads to strength. So instead of, in the pandemic, when it first hit, and I had a lot of stuff going on where I just couldn't control anything. My job looked different. My home life looked different. Financially, it looked different. Everything was different. And I'm like, okay, God, I'm not happy about this, but what can I do in the midst of this? What am I going to learn? My friend, Jim Stovall, he is an amazing man. He actually created the closed captioning for the blind years ago. And he's an amazing man. He's blind, and he basically made it so that if you're watching a TV show and you're blind, it will describe what's happening on the screen when you can't see it. He's just an amazing man. He's authored, I don't know how many books, 40 or 50 books. And he said to me, what was it, maybe about a year ago, right before the pandemic hit, never waste a good crisis. I think, yeah, you know what? It's an opportunity to grow closer to God and be grateful in the moment and see what's possible, right? And all of this is such a big part of what I work with my clients on, is that choice, that perspective in any given set of circumstances. How do you have a perspective or an attitude of gratitude in the midst of difficult circumstances? And the truth is that because you can choose gratitude and love in any situation, the world has a way of opening up to you in a way that you probably wouldn't even have imagined if you are sitting there feeling sorry for yourself, being down and out, not just down like sad, but down and out, when you're like, I'm just going to close myself off from the world to protect myself and not put myself out there and make sure I don't get hurt again, right? The world opens up to you, and this will lead to your greater God-given purpose. It will lead you to experience more gratitude for everything that you have. It's a beautiful, beautiful space to be. I know the difference between being in the other space and being in this space, and I guarantee you being in this space is profoundly more amazing than anything I've experienced in my life. So I hope to see you there. Sign up with the link below in the comments. And just again, my name is Alana Palm, and I help Christian women really just dig deep into some of the areas in their life where they've been hurt and heal that pain, break free of the pain of the past, and stop really looking outside of themselves for approval, stop looking to the world to approve of them, and actually start loving themselves for exactly who God says they are, who God created them to be. And it's such a beautiful experience when I see a woman who has struggled with this their whole life and they finally come into a place of knowing their worth, knowing their value. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. If you're tuning in for the replay, don't forget to just put replay, #replay, just so I know that you've watched the replay. Please put all of your questions in the comments. I will be going back there and checking out questions and comments after the video within the next 3 or 4 days, maybe a week or so. I always go back and look and see what people have said and kind of comment and answer questions. So I will leave you with a quote that I really like, and it says this: gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. I'd love to hear what you're grateful for in your life, because we can celebrate gratitude every day. Love you, ladies, and I look forward to being in touch with you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you connected with this content and it helped you in some way, please like, subscribe, and share this video. Also, check the description below for special gifts just for you. See you in the next video.